The most popular genre in gaming that has held its own for over half of a decade is slowly dying, and the chances of it surviving are slim to none. The Battle Royale genre is one that's been extremely popular for years.
Battle Royales are destroying the future of gaming. Are there no limits to addictive mechanics, rigged games, and manipulative tactics? If you haven't played them yourself, you've at least heard someone talk about how Battle Royales are trash. If you have, you know that whenever you're losing, you swear you'll never play again, and the moment you exit the game, you're back in the queue, itching for that win. Why is it that they became one of the most popular forms of gaming today? What keeps bringing us back? What makes these games so successful or addictive? In this world, there are two categories of successful games: good games and addictive games. Good games entice you over a period of time with high quality writing, varied gameplay, and good graphics. Addictive games overlap with the visuals, but they're the equivalent of spamming X when you're taken by surprise by the enemy and you temporarily forget your years of training and the existence of several abilities. And there's one defining difference between them. One is made to be a good game, and one is made to keep you playing. We live in an attention economy, so the longer you're looking, the more money they generate. Battle Royales are the demonic love child of the gaming experience and all the classic psychological techniques to entice you to play more. Just one more. Always one more. But don't just take my word for it. Let me tell you exactly how they do this. Let's use as an example a game that not even PUBG can escape from. Fortnite. It's begun. You've opened up Fortnite and the brightly decorated screen dazzles you as you enter the queue. The waiting is on, and this is the first experience designed to keep you playing. You have no idea how long it's going to take. It could be seconds, maybe it'll take minutes, or you might waste the equivalent of a whole game just waiting for a match to emerge from the abyss. That means you've got to get there quick, and you can't just leave the queue if you change your mind. Maybe you sprint across your house to grab some water in the meantime. All that life-sustaining stuff. You never really need to leave the cycle of waiting in game time. There's nothing survival related to activate your motivation to leave the game. Say goodbye to your primary driving forces for action, and say hello to sunk cost fallacy, because once you're in the queue, you're unlikely to leave because you've already spent time waiting. And then that moment, you found a game, a rush, and you're packed into a map with 99 other people, real people, unpredictable people, and you're about to prove yourself. What feels better in a game than feeling like you're better than every other player in an arena? The satisfaction of knowing that you can win the game and the threat of other players just like you aren't enough to get in your way. You're a winner. But better than this, it's showing that you're capable of it. The knowledge that they know is enough motivation to drive you back to the game for that moment, catch the enemy off guard and wipe them from the map, and your little username blinks on their screen as you squat around their screen before moving on with your day. They see you, and they can't do anything besides accept that they lost to you. The antagonizing can be fun, and you know how they feel because you felt like that too. But not today. Not in those games where you're demolishing the competition so ruthlessly that it almost feels unfair. But it feels good, like you've earned it, and every other player knows that too. That ties in with the next point: binaries. At the end of the game, you're either victorious or eliminated. That's not debate or room to doubt. This means that the dopamine rush of doing well is entirely determined on whether you've achieved the one goal of the game, to win. And due to the high level of chance, like how you land on the map and whether you manage to get some good loot, this outcome is never going to depend entirely on your skills, and you'll always lose at some point. If you always won, you wouldn't stick around because there would be no reason to prove yourself. Like all things in life, we can only experience life in comparison. We would never know the joy of winning without loss. The losses keep you playing. But if you thought the game didn't depend on your skill, there would be no reason to play. You can't prove yourself in a game based on luck, so if the first stages are luck, whether you get the loot you want or not, the next stage has to be somewhere you can show off your skills. What better way is there than to have you use your skills directly with other players and give you a chance to eliminate them? This works in two ways. First, you get to use your skills enough that some of the game results will rely on your abilities, and secondly, to ignite a competition with your opponent that is completely binary. The clear winner is the one who survives, and the other gets eliminated, unable to continue playing. There are no questions about who is better, because if you're eliminated, that's it. The right mixture of luck and skill ensures that you can never win more than a few times in one go. The average player struggles to get past the 5 mark, and the exact average is impossible to find, except the highest win streaks, as the board is very accessible. And maybe also the exceptional 3. Every other contender has obtained the streak with squads, being the most common duos and trios. The undeniable upper hand? Numbers. If you have a squad protecting you, things are much easier to navigate if you're a skilled player because numbers shift the influence of luck by activating team strategy. Loot does little when you're separated from the pack and getting jumped from both sides because, unfortunately, we only have 2 eyes, and they sadly face just one direction, or 1 eye or none, which is just as bad for visibility. But as a solo player, like many of us who value time alone or have a group of friends who spend too much time working and not enough time grinding Fortnite, the game design is perfect perfectly refined to retain your attention and ensure that craving to load up another game is an insatiable itch that demands your next 30 minutes. Fortnite is just one of the most popular battle royale games. This popular method warranted success the moment that Minecraft server survival games introduced the concept after the release of the Hunger Games over a decade ago. Its success has been infiltrating every corner of the gaming industry since, and the alluring strategies have been improving ever since to create booming games like Fortnite, where a whole 67% of its active players play more than 5 hours every week. But to the original point, why is this ruining gaming? Here's my answer. Addictive gameplay just sells better than high quality games. It's in the psychological button pressing, which just captures players better than well-written stories with meaningful gameplay. The inherent nature is the unraveling of the story, and Fortnite is the equivalent of beginning a movie and looking up to the Wikipedia summary rather than experiencing it for yourself. Anyone with a preference for meaning will have spent years preaching this very statement, but it's more than that. It's manipulating the player. Perhaps the loss of time in a game with no end could argue that it's simply aiming for something different. There's a place for these games, and it's at its best when used as a co-op game, something you can share with your friends. There's little better than logging in every day and trying to improve your skills with people you like playing with and want to continue playing with. Games with no end are perfect for this. The fun is infinite, and with battle royales you can really build bonds with your teammates with the motivation that the best teamwork will actually give you a leg up in the competition. Absolutely destroying the competition is the best way to solidify your camaraderie. Those who win the best games and lose the worst together stay together. That's not the only aspect though, it's the money. In 2023, the most sold and successful game of the year was The Legend of the Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. It sold almost 20 million units in its first year, as a highly anticipated sequel, one of a kind with exceptional graphics, a moving storyline, and a familiar character to draw in long-term audiences. Yet, Fortnite, as a game with a foundation that remains the same and only varies between updates, had 70 million active players in the same year. Part of this is the promise of free gaming upfront. TOTK costed over $60 at its peak, and Fortnite has always been free. As something to draw you in, it's almost a cruelly easy decision. Of course, if you're looking for a casual game, Fortnite is the one you choose for a couple of hours of mindless playing. It's a sample giving you just enough that you want more. Despite having a fully functional foundation that works for free, at least 3/4 of its players have spent money on the game, mostly on customization and fancy extras that cost a little bit at a time, enough to make you think that it's just pocket change until the next new update comes along with something completely irresistible. I mean, how else is a free game supposed to make money? Programming those updates isn't free. Each of these small acts, seemingly non-committal, are so easy to overlook when broken down, but the average player spends more on Fortnite than they would have had they just bought a full TOT game. Maybe it's not just destroying the future of games, because there's always going to be studios dedicated to a fan base that craves depth and story, and battle royales are genuinely fun. It's so easy to play a lighthearted game that you can pick up for 30 minutes of predictable fun and drop, but the addictive tendencies of these games simply generate more money than our classic highbrow games, and in a world that loves its money, something as unignorable as that is at the very least tempting. But in the meantime, at least we have Larian Studios for our daily dose.